Okay, perfect, guys. Well, first of all, thank you for having me today. I hope you enjoy your lunch. And let's get started with the topic for today, which is AI tools to automate live video production for radio broadcasters. So I don't know how many of you are in the radio business. So uh, if you give me an idea, that would be awesome, just to know the audience that I'm having today. Okay.
Uh, we've got one who's fully in there, another who's retired, and then you're kind of on the fringe of dabbling in the same space.
Right.
So I'd say about 3 or 4 of us out of the group.
Gotcha. Perfect. And the rest are in the TV side of things. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So let's see. This is a solution that works for radio, for podcasting, and I will try to make it easier for you to follow if you are not in the radio industry. Um, so let me get started here. The product, the solution that we have is called HD Mixer. We will dig into that. And my name is Alex Bonello. I'm the president of Insoft LLC. And who we are, let's start there. So we brought 3 decades of innovation in the broadcasting industry. In 1989, we've created the first audio compression algorithm. You may heard about MP3 and MPEG layer 2 and layer 3. Well, all those compression algorithms were based on what we did. More on this a little bit later. Then in 1990, we've created the first radio automation software, which had audio compression built in. The hard drives in the 90s were so small that we needed to compress the audio. If not, it was impossible to fit any length of audio in a 20 megabyte drive, right? And then in 2012, we've invented this concept of visual radio that we will explain later. In 2014, we've started selling this product, HD Mixer, for visual radio. And then in 2021, we revolutionized what radio automation is by creating a radio automation solution that's malware shielded, because it works from a web browser. So there's no connectivity except the web part of things. So let's start with 1989. So in 1989, we were the first, and although you may have heard that Fraunhofer invented perceptual audio coding, which is what's behind audio compression, well, that's a technology that I was part of a team that we've developed. We started in 1982, and by 1988, we had a table full of PCBs with a working prototype. And by 1989, we shrunk it down into a PCI card. That's the software there. And this is the beast card that we've developed in 1989. All those black boxes there, that's where all the proprietary technology lives in. It's a double-decker card, PCI double-decker card. This was a 4-channel card, so you could do crossfades with that card. And a year later, we came up with a 1-decker card and a 6-channel one, so that you could do audio queuing while you were doing crossfades on the air. Right. So by 1992, we were selling these systems as crazy, automating stations all over the world. And we heard that Fraunhofer wanted to patent this technology. Actually, they filed for a provisional patent in Germany. And when we heard that, we said, hey, wait, we've invented it, and these guys are going to patent that. So we had two ways to go there. Either we patented, but we had to patent it in each and every country in the world because this was a worldwide technology, right? Audio compression. It would be in every home in every country. So we went the other route, which was to make it open to the public so that no royalties would have to be ever paid for audio compression. And in the Journal of Audio Engineering Society, July 1992, we published an advertising, this one that you see there. And because of that advertising, Fraunhofer was not able to file a patent for this technology, because what we said in that advertising was that, hey, we have a product, its price is $6,900, and it records and it plays back, and it has CD quality, and it has 4:1 audio compression in CD quality, and it does 15:1 in standard quality, and we have dealers, and if a technology it's out there in the market, you cannot patent it. You can only patent things that are new. So thanks to this, we've all enjoyed through these 20 plus years of audio compression without having to pay royalties. And by the time the MPEG codec became mainstream, we already had 10,000 ECAM radio stations around the world recording and playing back their commercials and their music sets on a computer, on a hard drive system, right? And if this seems like ancient history, let me show you a video clip of a station today using this system from 1990. You should hear the audio, by the way. If you do not, let me know. So this is a station in a small town in Argentina that they are still using this system, right? Till this day, which I think it's more a testament to the hard drive of that computer than to our solution, but it's still spinning, that hard drive. So after inventing audio compression, we said, okay, so what will be the next change? What will change radio again forever, right? And we thought about this a lot in the 2000s, and we found a problem that radio broadcasters were struggling in the 2000s, which was video production. Although it was not mainstream that radio stations had to produce video content from their studios, that trend started in the 2000s with maybe like security cameras in a corner of the studio. And as you TV guys know, it's very hard to produce great content, especially when you want to do it on a budget, right? Cost effectively. So that's when we've got this gotcha moment where we thought that the inability to automate video production in radio studios will lead to billions of dollars in unrealized profits, and that there was a niche there to start working on. And that's how visual radio was born, right? Because of the need of automating video production in a radio studio, in a podcast studio, in that kind of environment. So we started working, and by 2013, we have a prototype. And this is the original pitch of the prototype. I won't bore you with this, but we show this prototype to the guys from Telos Alliance, and they said, "Hey, this is a great piece of technology that here in the States no one is using, no one is advertising. So why don't you come to NAB and start showing this stuff here?" So this was 2013. By 2014, we had the product ready, HTV Mixer. So we went to NAB 2014. This was me at the booth with a small audio console there, a camera next to the mic boom arm, and I spent that entire show opening and closing the microphone. And each time I opened the microphone, the camera would turn on. When I closed my microphone, the video clip of the music tune that was playing on the air would show up. And we've got a ton of traction and interest in the product. And that's how Insoft started, right? We've got incorporated in 2014, and the rest is history. I'm originally from Argentina. I came to the States, and I never returned. Well, I returned just to visit family, but the business here exploded. So in the next 8 years, we've installed 1,000 studios with automated camera switching technology. And this is a short clip of some of those studios. That's in Miami, that's in Colombia, I guess. What else? That's Honduras, that's Argentina, that's Mexico, that's Bogota, that's South Dakota. That's Cairo out of Seattle. That's Energy from Uganda. That's W. Raw from North Carolina. Puerto Rico. So we've done. You get the picture, right? We started installing these systems all over the place, right? Here locally and abroad as well. And let me play a small clip of one of our customers, and you will be able to see how the cameras switch automatically as well.
All right.
Me too.
Now we're on the after show. That was a good timing there. That was a quick end there.
That was
LLS,
awesome.
long live something I
Supper.
was thinking of.
I was thinking LS Engine for a second.
Yeah, we're just
This was a great show, and you know what? Everything's working really well in here. We're happy with it. Well, it doesn't matter if you guys are happy with it. I have to be happy with it, right?
I can
Yeah.
see that you're happy about it, and we didn't do any in-show engineering for the most
No,
part.
everything was the way I wanted it for a show. And you know what? We got to give a shout out. Everybody's gonna shout out to our friends over at HDV Mixer. So
Yes.
if you're watching this show and you see these cameras switch back and forth, we are not touching anything in here. Producer Doug's in there taking calls. Chris is over here doing audio for the radio station live and all that. But this video, we didn't touch it since we came in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all handled by our good friends Alex and Diego at HDV Mixer.
You've
It's
been,
all-
talking
it's
to,
all-
you've been talking to them a
It's
lot
all
lately,
handled
haven't
by
you?
the software. We
It
should
is.
say they're not watching the show right now.
Right.
Controlling.
They're
it.
under the table.
Yeah.
Get
So-
out of here. Diego, come out.
They make this for radio stations, and this week they're at the NAB show in Las Vegas, and they'll be talking to other people. And we just wanted to let people know that are considering HDV mixers, consider our radio show too if you're
Right.
there and watching in Vegas. But check out this system; it is great. There are so many things in this.
Okay, so that's a happy customer, right? And through the years, we had many happy customers. So by 2022, we started asking ourselves, well, okay, what's next, right? What would be the next frontier to break into? Do we need to change anything with this product because it's working fine? So we started asking, right, our customers, what would they add or change, right? So some said, okay, make it simpler for producers to use. Okay, although it's an automated video production system, okay, sometimes you need to use it manually. Okay, that's a fair suggestion. Make it simpler to automate, to add new microphones to the studio and automate that. Okay, yeah, that was quite involved. Make it simpler to create new shows. Have a way of cloning a show and changing the names of the hosts and co-hosts, and maybe the logo. Okay. Make it simpler, the clutter, the UI. Okay, well, maybe the UI is a little bit cumbersome. Okay, make it simpler. Provide remote access. Yeah, we didn't provide remote access. Make it simpler to configure. Okay, make it simpler to deploy to multiple markets. We never thought about that originally. So the theme was make it simpler, right? And that's where the AI comes in. So I'm getting there. So this is HD Mixer 1.0, 11 years, a really nice run to this generation. It was the first generation to automate video production for a podcast studio or a radio studio. But it had a bunch of buttons and settings and icons, right? The top toolbar, it has 16 windows, and each of those windows, when you open them, has more configurations. Here you see only 7 of those 16 windows opened. So we said, okay, let's simplify this. So we made it a web-based product. So now you have a web page, you log in with username and password, you select the studio you want to log into, and boom, the studio is there. And now, instead of having, I don't know, dozens of buttons, we just have 3 buttons. The AI mode button to turn it on and off, the preview mode button to turn preview on and off, and the record button. And that's about it. Of course, we have in the top right, we have a user menu and that kind of stuff, but that's something that most web pages or software packages have. So that's standard. But specifically about the product, we have only 3 buttons, right? And yeah, please go ahead.
Quick about that last screen that you had.
Mm-hmm.
I started thinking about it when you were watching the demo reel. How the phrasing of this isn't going to come out well. How do you automate in the sense of it knowing whether you want just a single shot of a single talent there, or can it just opt back and forth on its own know-how between a single shot and 3 of them sitting all together in a triple box?
Mm-hmm. Great question. So that's done. We are going to see it in a couple of slides. That's done because the system knows the audio level on each microphone, and it also knows if the microphones are on air or not. So with all that information, and knowing which camera is pointing towards which microphone, then the system can tell whether he has to go with one shot or with another one. Here in the bottom part, you have 40 different scenes. So the user would come up with these scenes. You can have 40 or much less than 40. If you have only 4 cameras and you want to do only full screens of those 4 cameras, you will have only 4 scenes probably, right? With only those 4 cameras. Let's say here scenes 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the upper right. Those, well, actually 5 cameras. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5, which is a wide shot. Okay, so maybe you can have only 5 scenes, and the AI will switch between those 5 because those are the only options that you provided the AI. So yeah, so let me dig in a little bit more into this, and if you still are not sure, we'll go back. Okay. So the first question would be, why do we need AI, right? And the answer is, okay, because we need to automate those rules that have just talked about. And to drastically simplify the configuration, we need to replace the Boolean algebra rules that we used in the previous generation of software with something which is much more simple, right? And that's where the AI comes in. But you could ask me why it's complicated to automate camera switching using Boolean logic, because a microphone is either on the air or it's either off air, right? But not so fast, because a microphone is a 3-state device in a studio. It can be either off air, it can be either on air and someone is talking into that microphone, or it can be on air and silent, right? And of course, it can be off air and talking, but we don't care about that, right? So we have 3 states. Yeah. The off air, yeah, and talking, okay, yeah, talk, yeah, all you want, we don't care. But certainly all those 3 states are important and are important to make these decisions that we've been talking about. How does the system switch cameras, right? Effectively, right? And that's where the AI comes in. So originally, the user interface had a green LED for each microphone. There at the bottom, the host microphone at the bottom has a green LED, and that's when that microphone it's on air, it's hot. And then it had another LED, the red one at the top, which would turn on when the host is on the air and he is speaking. So the audio level in his microphone is above a certain threshold, right? So it's on air and speaking. And those are the 3 states that we have, either off air, on air, or and speaking. And let's see how difficult it was on the previous generation without AI to automate that. So the example would be, I want to switch to the host camera showing the host full screen, right? To that video that we're seeing there. Okay, perfect. So what would the rules to do that would be with Boolean algebra? Okay, so first we need to go to the scene, which is scene number 1 that says host, and that will show the host full screen. And the automation rules that we need for this using Boolean algebra are microphone number 1, it's equal to on and speaking. Perfect. That's something that we can all understand. But there are some other rules that are not that obvious that we also need to consider, which is that microphone number 2 should be equal to off or silent, because we want the host camera to show up only when he is talking and when all the others are silent, right? So microphone 2 is off and silent, microphone 3 is off and silent, 4 is off and silent, 5. As many microphones you have, plus the remote Zoom links or Airlink links, everyone is silent, then we are sure that we have to show the host camera full screen. But as you can see, we ended up with 7 rules to automate only one scene. And those 7, 6 of them are not very intuitive, I would say. So let's see how we do it in the AI world. We also have a scene that shows the host camera full screen. But here we only tell the system, okay, microphone 1. And the AI will figure out whether microphone 1 it's on the air and someone is talking, or whether this is the only option because all the others are off air and even no one's talking. It's the only alternative. So now we just tell the AI, hey AI, this shot, this scene should be activated when microphone 1, when something is happening on microphone 1, and that's it. And the AI will take it from there, right? And there's one more thing that would be awesome to do, which would be to even automate this and for the AI to automatically know that, okay, if I have this camera here pointing toward that microphone, oh, I already know that microphone is microphone number 2, so let me automatically select here microphone 2, and I will know what to do when you choose this camera on a scene. Okay. And for the AI to know which microphone was there in that particular camera, we came up with what we call object-oriented video production, OOVP. And this means that we have relationships. We give the AI relationships between stuff in the studio. So if camera 1, it's pointing towards microphone 1, and the host, which for this show is called Joe, it's sitting in microphone 1, we call this relationship number 1. So the AI knows that if she or he, I don't know how to refer to the AI, he or she or it, sees activity in microphone 1, and that microphone is on the air, he or she knows that she needs to switch to a scene that's showing camera 1, right? And if there's a lower third with the name of the host, she knows that that lower third should read Joe, right? Because that's the person sitting in microphone 1. And we can do this for the other cameras. Camera 2 pointing towards microphone 2, and Anita is sitting in the co-host. Anita is sitting in microphone 2. And once we set up these relationships for all the cameras that we have in the studio, then the AI can take it from there and do all the switching on our behalf. So if I have, let's give some examples. If I have a scene showing camera 1, okay, the AI now knows that that microphone is microphone number 1. And if she sees activity in that microphone, she knows that Joe Talent is talking, and she will populate the lower third with the name Joe Talent, and will switch to this scene whenever he's talking. The same goes for Anita Bath, which she sits in microphone 2, which is related to camera 2. And for the guest camera, camera 3 is pointing towards microphone 3, and Isabel is the guest there, right? And if we have a wide shot camera, camera 4, we tell the AI, okay, the relationship for camera 4 is that you will have in that scene microphones 1, 2, and 3. So you know what, that when Joe, Anita, and Isabel, the 3 are talking, you will go to this scene. Or if no one's talking in the studio, you will go to this scene, right? Because it's the wide shot. So as you can see, for this to work, you just need to configure these relationships just once for each studio. And you have as many relationships as cameras you have. So if you have 4 cameras, it's as simple as configuring these 4 options, and that's it. And let's see OVP in action. So let's say I edit, I create a new scene in HDB Mixer, and I put camera 1 full screen, then the system will automatically add Joe Talent and select microphone 1. If I create a scene with camera 2, it will do the same, but microphone 2 and Anita Bath. If I create a new scene with camera 3, it will put microphone 3 and put the lower third with Isabel. If I have a wide shot, it already knows that those are microphones 1, 2, and 3. And if I do a split screen, okay, let's say I put camera 1 on the left, camera 2 on the right, the system will also know, okay, so this scene will be triggered when microphones 1 and 2 are on the air and someone is talking into them, right? So we ended up with a 0 configuration system. Of course, if a particular scene you don't want the AI to use it, here at the top you have an AI mode automation on/off switch. So you can tell the AI, okay, this particular scene, which is a split screen, okay, well, we don't want to use it in auto mode. We just want to reserve it for manual operation, and that's totally fine with AI. You disable that, and the AI won't use it. And using AI and this OOVP concept, we ended up having a 0, what we call a 0 configuration automation, right? Because the OOVP will prepare the rules for all the scenes, and then the AI will switch based on those rules, which were automatically generated. So I don't know if this answers your question regarding on how to automate the switching.
Yeah, you were basically going there. I was trying to figure out in my head how it would know to go from a static shot of just one person to a triple box of three different people. So
Mm.
you kind of laid that out for me. I assume you'd preset the camera positions ahead of time.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So we have a PTC panel that I may have some slides of it. And here where you see scenes, decks, which are video players, PDC, that's from where you control the cameras. And from there you have presets. So for each show or for each segment in a show, the system can preset the cameras to specific positions. And what we are adding now, it's a feature for the cameras to track, barely, but to track who's in the shot, right? We're planning on doing that when the cameras are not on the air, so that it will do minor adjustments, so that it makes sure that the person, the subject, is in the middle of the shot. Yeah. And let's see this in action.
Headlines we've heard in the past about quote unquote teen takeovers in downtown in past summers. Like, is this just a thing now we just can't get rid of?
Well, I mean, I think it points to a bigger problem that has not been addressed. So, yeah, we're not going to get rid of it until we address the bigger problem, right? Which is, and Mayor Lightfoot said as much, I think it was last summer or whenever it was, just kind of pointing to the need for some more constructive activity for teens, right? You know, there are some teens who maybe come downtown and maybe they do have tickets to something, but some are just, you know, looking for some activity, looking for fun, for something to do.
Hanging around.
They're just hanging around. Clearly, there are some who do find themselves or do create a violent situation, and that needs to be addressed by other means as well. And I thought when Mayor Lightfoot brought this up, she said, we will, you know, we're going to start engaging on meaningful ways and activities for these teens to know that they are welcome downtown as well, but with something to do, something in particular.
I mean, some do have jobs downtown. I think mine are working on some internships right now that will actually bring them downtown as well. So I'm hoping they don't get caught in the mix of, you know, being thought to be doing, you know, wrongdoing. But I mean, how much support, Mitch, do you think that there might be in the city council for an earlier curfew?
It's hard to see, certainly Mayor Brandon Johnson, it's hard to see him supporting a measure like this. And I wouldn't expect a lot of his more progressive allies in the council to support it.
I think the 42nd Ward Alderman Riley has already sort of expressed that he supports it.
Right. Yeah. His ward kind of borders right up against it. And obviously, you know, for residents in those downtown areas, you know, this is a big concern for them. But it's just hard to imagine a bigger support from the city council. You know, Mayor Johnson.
Okay, so here you had, whoops, sorry. So here you have an idea of how it switches. As you can see, if someone says something very, very short, like, okay, something along those lines, it's not speaking, but it's just making some noise, the AI won't switch to that camera. So that it waits for someone to start saying something meaningful before switching. And for this particular station, they do have split screens. So when it switches back and forth, it will go first to a split screen, and then it will go to the full screen. That's up to the station. If you have a scene and you allow the AI to use a scene where it has a split screen, then when both are talking simultaneously, it will go to that split screen. If you don't have a scene that does a split screen, it will switch directly to whoever is talking, right?
Out of curiosity, have you had requests for people that they wanted the window that you're saying from person A to person B talks, so they split and don't split, that they want that changed? Or is it set and they're happy with it?
So sorry, let me try to increase a little bit the volume here, because no, I have it all the way up. So I couldn't get the question. Sorry. Can you please?
My curiosity is the window of time you have for when the camera's either gonna go switch to another person or it goes to a split window. Have you ever had people request, well, I want that amount of time changed to lengthen it or shorten it? Or
Oh
anything like
yeah,
that?
absolutely. And that's part of the initial configuration. Yeah, when you create your microphones, there's a user interface to create how many microphones you have. What's the name that you give to the microphone? Because let's see, we engineers call the microphones microphone 1, 2, and 3, but the users will probably call them host microphone, co-host microphone, guest microphone. So for each microphone, you will enter the actual name of the microphone, microphone 1, the producer name of the microphone, if you will, host, and then you will have to enter the WIDNet information so that we connect to the blade, and we bring all that information for that particular microphone, right? So in there, you also select the threshold level that microphone will use for audio activity, for considering that the microphone has audio activity. And also you consider the what we call wait before on, which is a time in milliseconds, and wait before off configurations. And those are the ones that the AI will use. And you configure that for each microphone. So for the host microphone, you probably want a wait before on time, which is much slower than for a co-host or a guest, so that when the host interrupts, the system will understand that he has to go to the host camera faster than if the co-host interrupts, right? Which may be ignored for more time. Yeah, and the AI has some other details in there that let's see, we trained it with video content, and we found out that now the AI is using those times when it's waiting before switching to figure out if other people are starting to talk. So let's say you start laughing at the joke on the air. You're the host. You start laughing on the air because I don't know, a guest said a very funny joke. But at the end of the day, everyone will end up laughing, right? You, the host, the co-host, another guest, everyone will end up laughing. So what you don't want the system to do is to switch to the host camera, show him laughing, then switch to another camera of the co-host, show him laughing. What you want there is to switch to wide shot and show everyone laughing at the same time. So the AI has this intelligence where, okay, wait, if I'm waiting, if someone starts talking and during the time I'm waiting to switch the camera, someone else starts talking as well. So I will wait a little bit more because maybe someone else as well will start talking. And when I see that multiple people are start talking and say, okay, so now I won't switch to the host. Now maybe it's time to switch to the wide shot. Yeah, so that happens, and that gives the production a humanish feel, if you will. Yeah. But again, at the end of the day, you have control on these delays, right? So if you don't want them, you put
Headlines
them in
we've heard
zero
in the
and
past
call
about
it a day. So as you can see, AI plus OOBP brings the ultimate in simplicity in a video production for a studio environment. We feel that we were able to nail it for this particular use case where you have people sitting in a studio and you're doing interviews or radio shows or podcast shows. Yeah. And our solution comes down to a plug and play system. We ship the server, the cameras, we do the provisioning, setup, training. It's on us. And the end user gets an attended video production for a specific studio, right? So if you have any more questions, feel free. This would be a great moment.
One, just for fun. Okay, I understand the intelligence behind knowing when a person's talking. How about if a person wanted to intervene for, say, reaction shots? How easy is it to pivot to something like that?
Mm-hmm.
In 1960, when JFK was debating Nixon, anyone who listened on radio thought Nixon killed it, but anyone watching on television knew it was the opposite because Nixon just looked hot and sweaty. So, what happens when a producer wants to show off somebody rolling their eyes but not necessarily saying something?
That's a great question. So yeah, we are planning on the next iteration. We're planning on doing video processing and figuring out whether the shots from each camera are appealing to the viewer, and use that as part of the camera switching algorithm. Because it's true, many stations or many podcasts ask us to have that possibility to see the reactions. So currently what they do is they may end up switching to two different let's do a split screen when whether either the host or the co-host are talking. They will do a split screen between the two. That way you always have the reaction of the other one. But of course it's not optimal, so that's why we're planning on doing this. Let me see if I can log into one system really quick. Let's first log out. Let me show you how a user would normally log in into the system. So it will go to our website, click login here, and here he will select the station that he wants to connect to. Well, first he will enter a username and password, and then if you have multiple studios, you can choose which studio to connect to. Let me check this one. I think they may be live right now. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So this is a station out of Phoenix. And as you can see, the Wolf and Luke show, either when Luke or when Wolf talk, it will do a split screen because they wanted the reaction of the other co-host. But it's totally understandable that we don't need the reaction all the time, right? Because sometimes the co-host is looking at his cell phone, and that's when you don't want that to happen. And the idea is to use AI in the video processing streams, in the camera streams. There you go. So that reaction, that's perfect. But when he's not smiling, when he's not reacting, it would be much better off if you just leave Luke on the air, right?
So you could build your own theoretically AI rule if, say, you had a caller or like another Zoom guest to handle that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if you look closely here in number 13, that says phone. So that's when they are, I don't know, they've been on the air with, I don't know, this guy Monty Osornov or something along those lines. So the producer can enter the name of the caller, and the system will show it up with the character generator, and you can add microphones, and you can also tell the AI, oh, hey, I also have a phone fader in my audio board, and that's not a camera, it's a telephone conversation, it's a telephone caller, but you can use that to switch to a specific scene where it's showing either a photo of the caller or something along those lines, although the photo or the name of the caller must be entered by someone, right? Yeah.
You're basically talking to completely automate what a producer is doing, though. And that seems fairly challenging to me that you are trying to second guess, if you will, what somebody really wants done. So I presume that you can do this on the fly then. So if you have three people, one of those people can be manipulating the system independently of that, or switch off the AI if you need to then?
Yeah, so let's see. If you need to switch off the AI, yeah, you click here in that AI button there, and now you are on your own. You can select. It works like any other switcher, right? And yeah, and no, go ahead.
Yeah, some of our stations use that, and I can only imagine that they would they've got three people, and then one of those three people is usually the producer, and they're, whether they are obvious or not, they're surreptitiously or, working the system as well as being a host. So that's why I was curious about this AI thing. I could see it could be rather treacherous to enter, without a lot of caution.
Yeah, if you ask me, most of the time, no one should be messing around with the system. And for us, visual radio, the concept of visual radio, it doesn't mean to install cameras in a studio. What it means is that we automate the video production process. Because the producer is there to be focused on the content. The host should be focused on the questions he's asking. So there's no time in a podcast or in any kind of broadcast environment for any of the guys that are in front of the camera or in front of the microphone to be doing technical stuff or switching or doing that kind of stuff. So that's why we want to automate 95% of all the video production. And actually for this particular station, but for many others as well, when here on the right, when this show ends at 2 p.m., it will switch, or at whatever hour it ends. It says 10 a.m., 2 p.m., but it's 2:24, so probably. Oh, okay. Okay, they are in Phoenix. Okay, so yeah, it's not 2 p.m. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So at 2 p.m. it will switch to the next show, and as you can see, they have a bunch of shows, right? And when it's overnight, it will switch to the show overnight, which probably shows a slate with just the logo of the station. But all this switching happens automatically, and the recording and the start and stop of the recording, it also can be automated. These guys do automate that. And the streaming to social media accounts, they don't have any in this station, but if they would have some social media accounts here preloaded, it can start and stop streaming to Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitch automatically, right? The same goes for streaming to CDNs. Here they have Twitter, Facebook. Okay, so all these can be automated. So that no one needs to be messing around with it, except if they want to, right? These are the PDC controllers. They have 4 cameras. I won't touch them, but these are the PDC controllers. And let me see. Okay, and when you have a guest and you want to enter the name of the guest, the only thing that you need to maybe do manually is come here, select participants and headlines, and enter here the name of each person in front of each microphone. So host microphone 1, you should enter there the name, host microphone, co-host microphone 2, wedge microphone 3, tech microphone 4, guest 2, microphone 5, producer microphone 6. If you enter these names here, then the AI can automatically add those lower thirds. Of course, right now they have fixed lower thirds, and that's why this area is not populated, right? But they're not taking advantage of that, let's say. And of course, you can limit what users can do. So here, if I come to the users, this is the list of users this cluster of 9 stations has. And here in roles, you can create your own roles. So they have a board op role and Phoenix board op. And if I edit the role, you can choose what a specific role can do, right? Maybe they cannot rename a show, maybe they cannot delete media, that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. So
Pretty cool.
yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. Yeah, and there you see it has sound. I don't know what that is. Maybe they are playing something from the radio automation system, so they went to a different scene called sound now. Okay, well, that's what I had for you today. Thank you very much for your time.
Looks like Trevor's just typed in a question.
Okay, yeah, please, Trevor.
In user roles, dang it, something,
Interact with.
something
Oh.
Active Directory.
Okay, I should have the chat here also. Let me open it.
And user roles integrate with Active Directory.
Can user roles integrate? Okay, with Active Directory. We haven't done so this far. So in general, the server has a Windows user, and most of the time that's well, sometimes it's an admin, a local admin, but it doesn't have to. But the server is running all the time using that Windows user. And these users that you see here are just for the sake of the user interface, the web user interface. And of course, we could integrate them with Active Directory, but we haven't done so yet. So that's a feature that we don't have yet. But it could be, yeah, nice, so that you could even have the same users with the same credentials. Right now you have to send an invitation to anyone that you want to add. Enter the name, the surname, the email, and then choose which stations you want him to have access to. From all the stations that you have, let's allow him to have access to only these 3. Then you select a role for this person, and you send the invitation. So this person will receive an email. He will create his password, and from that point onwards, he will be able to access these 3 stations that you gave access to. Yeah, good question there, Trevor. Yeah, that's something that we can totally. Yeah.
One question left here, hopefully, we'll see. When you have to do maintenance on the Windows Server, what do you do? Is it, you just go up to a slide to do this, for the video side, so the, viewers get to see something, or what happens when you have to reboot the machine after patches are applied from Microsoft?
So I didn't get. So what happens when what is it that let's see, when the radio automation software is playing? You say?
Well, when you have to apply Microsoft patches or system updates, more times than not, you have to reboot the system.
Okay, gotcha. Well, yeah. So just so you know, although this is a web page, and all the video that you are seeing here, you are consuming it through a web page. The system works on premise. Okay, all video rendering happens on premise on that server, that this server that we ship the system with. So all the cameras are connected to that server, where there are NDI cameras or physical SDI cameras. They connect to the server. All the video rendering happens there. If you record video, it will get recorded in the hard drives of the server. And the only time that the video leaves your premise is if you are opening this web page from outside your network. If you're opening from outside your network, then the server will push these 42 video streams that you're seeing here to whoever it's accessing remotely, and it's doing that with video encryption, and it's not sending audio. Okay, just video. On all these for security reasons. All this said, if you need to restart your video server, you are restarting the server that's doing the video encoding. So yeah, the video streaming will stop. Yeah. And we try to do as little updates to the servers as possible, right? Yeah, treat it as a playout server, let's say.
How many services can it stream to seamlessly? Can you do only one, like, can you just do Facebook, or can you do Facebook and X and How many video systems, so if you're streaming out to like Facebook, can you do stream out to Facebook, YouTube, X? Can you go to multiple locations on the web? Can you stream to multiple locations at once?
Yeah, absolutely. You can stream up to 25 locations simultaneously. So here you see that these guys are streaming to these two, web test and big simple stream recorder. But as you can see here, they have many more. They have 5 more. And if I click start streaming in this Twitter X, Facebook, and there are a couple of Twitter accounts, a YouTube one. If I start clicking on those, it will start streaming to those platforms. And by the way, we integrate with the API of those platforms. So when you start streaming to a social media, it will ask you for the title of your post and the description of your post, and will push that notification to all your followers. And if you want to do that with only one click, then you can add a group here, enter a name, test, and select that this group will stream to these accounts, right? These 5 accounts. If I click add, then it will create this group, and by just starting the stream of the group, it will start streaming to all these accounts that are in the group. Okay. So it's super simple to stream to multiple accounts with only one click. Okay. Yeah. And we also have ISO recording for those that let's see, if all the video automation fails and you are doing an interview with the president, then you can ISO record your cameras and have the raw footage from your cameras with no compression, with barely no compression, with a mezzanine codec, so that you could then do post-production kind of editing.
Gentlemen, if there are no further questions, thank you very much, Alex, for your time. I like this product.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I hope you enjoy your lunch and have a great rest of the day, guys.
Great. Thank you for lunch. Appreciate it.
Take care. Happy holidays.